Well, this should be all the indication you need of what type of night it was for the WWE for TLC 2014. The play-by-play commentator, Michael Cole, who has been doing the job for over a decade and a half now. Yeah, think about that for a second. The guy who consistently gets information fed into his earpiece to repeat on national television throughout every freaking show, consistently refer to this show as TLC and chairs over and over and over again. When the people involved with producing the show and bringing the show live to you do not even know what the fuck the show is called, you know you're in for a bad night. Michael Cole. It was TLC and stairs. Tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs. Oh my! The way a WWE pay-per-view should be structured and the way it should flow is that the show builds upon itself throughout the night. Sure, you might have some peaks and valleys, but in general, it sets a tone. It gets better as things go along, and you build up to the main event that goes on last. That's why it goes on last, because it is the main event. That's why it's the main event in the WWE, because it goes on fucking last. And that's supposed to be the thing that everybody ultimately remembers the most from the show. Now, sometimes it goes that way organically or not. Sometimes it doesn't go that way, again, organically or not. As a general rule of thumb, though, if on a WWE pay-per-view, the best match of the night and the match you're going to remember the most is the curtain jerker, the opener, that's not a good thing. This IC title ladder match between Ziggler and Harper was clearly match of the night. And I don't even think it was that close. And that's credit to Harper and Ziggler for going out there and busting their ass. And I'm not going to knock them for doing that, because if nobody else on the card could step up and follow suit, then frankly, that is their fucking problem. Because it's not like Ziggler or Harper had the greatest ladder match of all time. They had a really goddamn good match. But a match that could be followed. A match that should be followed. A match that should be topped. So, of course, it fucking wasn't. And look, you go from Dolph Ziggler main eventing at Survivor Series, where he's pinning Seth Rollins with the assistance of fucking Sting to get rid of the Authority, to now he is in the freaking opening match of the very next pay-per-view, winning that god-blessed, meaningless IC fucking title again. You literally put the belt on Harper for no fucking reason, just to return it right back to Dolph damn Ziggler. And Jesus Christ, I understand that with today's WWE, you guys really don't have shit else except the match quality. I knock you for it, I make fun of you for it, but I can't blame you for it, because that's pretty much all you fucking got. But at some point in time, it does have to be more than just about that. Why in the fuck would you be celebrating Ziggler in yet another match of the night on a pay-per-view when it represents more of the same old fucking shit? Let's show our love and support for Ziggler by supporting him being in the same exact fucking spot on the card that he was 4 or 5 goddamn years ago. Opening the match, or the show, winning a goddamn meaningless mid-card title. Why are you celebrating this shit? Where's your outrage for a similar level like you had for guys like Punk and Daniel Bryan before? If you love this guy so fucking much, why don't you show it? Instead, all these asshats are sitting there celebrating this shit. I'm not even a Ziggler fan, and I'm pissed off for this guy. He fucking deserves better. You guys fucking deserve better. Start letting the WWE know that that should be the case. Oh, Ziggler wins the IC title in the opening match of the card 1 fucking month after Sting helped him in the main event of a Big 4 pay-per-view eliminate the Authority. Why are you celebrating this shit? I understand that the WWE faced just a small bit of a challenge with this show being in Cleveland with the tag title match, because the Usos are babyfaces. Mizdow was a babyface. The Miz is in his hometown, so he could potentially come across as a babyface. You didn't really necessarily want 4 babyfaces in this match. And I'm glad that the tag titles are being defended on the show. Don't get me wrong. But why am I getting a Raw match on a fucking pay-per-view? And furthermore, who booked this fucking finish? This was crap. This was shit. It accomplished nothing. It did nothing, which oddly enough makes it fit so much of the rest of this fucking show. I was really hoping that this stairs match for Rowan was going to be an opportunity for him to stand out a little bit, an opportunity for him to show what he can do, because over the past several weeks, I'm starting to kind of get behind the guy a little bit, and I think the fans want a reason to. They feel like they can, but they need to be, again, given a reason to. Well, sticking him in this stupid stairs stipulation match obviously wasn't the fucking way to go. Maybe it sounded like a great idea in the drawing board. Maybe it sounded like because it was something different, it would work, but it didn't. And maybe in part, the crowd was already being started to be lost, and that could possibly be the case. But this was bad. I mean, these guys tried, Show and Rowan, to make this stupid stipulation work. But let's hope this is the last time there's ever a stairs match on a WWE pay-per-view. What really just flummoxes me and what really just stuns the piss out of me is why you're not going to have Rowan go over here. I understand, especially what happened later on in the night. Maybe you're sending Big Show and Roman at each other, and maybe you want to build up Big Show strong. But damn it all, this was a chance for Eric Rowan to stand out on his own 2 feet on a pay-per-view. He needed this fucking victory. Not every time does the new face need to win a match, but considering how much Rowan has lost as a part of the Wyatt family over the past year plus, yes, Eric Rowan needed this fucking match. Because frankly, Big Show winning doesn't do anything to make anybody give a fuck about him anymore. And him losing doesn't do anything for people to give less of a fuck about him. They give whatever fucks they give about Big Show at this point in time in his ridiculous, repetitive heel face turns. And usually that's not much of a fuck. All you did here was accomplish trying to make people care less about Eric Rowan. Oh, the tables match. There's so many things about this are why. Why did this match not main event? Why make this a match at all if you aren't confident that a match involving your Money in the Bank winner and your guy who's fucking Cena, who's your #1 contender, isn't going to be main event quality? Why is the match with arguably the most important stipulation of the night not closing out the show, especially when the stipulation ties into the guy carrying the title that has been seen on WWE TV in over 3 fucking months? Just why do this shit? Why did this not main event? Yeah, one of the rare times I'd actually kind of complaining about the fact that Cena didn't main event, because I would have thought, in theory, that this match should have main evented. And thankfully it didn't, because of how shitty this truly was. But that's just on the WWE and how they structured and booked this whole fucking piece of shit. I mean, why wouldn't it just be 3-on-1 the entire time? Noble and Mercury are out there. They're like tiptoeing through the tulips trying to sneak around in a no DQ match to help Rollins against Cena. Why the fuck would that matter? As soon as the bell rings, go fucking after him. Just go ape shit ballistic. Just beat the piss out of him and hurry up and put him through a fucking table. It's no DQ, dumb dicks! Why does the WWE fail to pay any attention to these ever important details at all? Why does the WWE think that people don't pay attention to this shit? Why does the WWE continue to not demonstrate enough professional pride in what the fuck they do to at least be able to sit there and say, we did the best that we possibly could? Why would anybody in the WWE think they did anything close to the best they possibly could when they ignore so many important fucking details, several of which you saw perfectly demonstrated in this fucking match? Why was this shit so overbooked? The interference, but then before that, Mercury and Noble are acting like they need to sneak around in a fucking match with no disqualifications. Why are we sitting there and having these two assholes go through a table at the same time? Why would we do that? And then the refs are having like a conference, and he's trying to tell them they both went through the same. Well, what the fuck? What about when somebody got put through the table earlier? Why wouldn't the ref be able to tell them about that shit? Again, details, people, details. And then we sit there, and the match is ordered to be restarted, and the fucking bell doesn't ring until the end of the fucking restarted match. So it technically didn't restart until it was fucking over. Why is the WWE this fucking stupid? Why would you subject Seth Rollins to this shit? Why do you always do the same fucking shit that involves Cena? This is why people don't like Cena, because so much of the shit that he's involved with is just plain shit. Storyline-wise, it would have made much more sense in my mind to have Randy Orton return here. Why not have him return here? Why is it more important to have Randy Orton filming a fucking movie than taking care of your core area product? I get why they might have had Roman Reigns come back and said, in fact, I believe in my TLC preview, I alluded to it happening, and some of you thought, Orton, well, I guess I was right, you were wrong, so fuck you. I get maybe why he would even come after the Big Show. He wants to make a statement. He wants to help out. Whatever the case might be, he wants to fuck over Seth Rollins, and that's all fine and good. But why the fuck do we need to go to Big Show Roman Reigns? Even bigger and more significant question is, why the fuck would we have Roman Reigns do a live promo afterwards? You assholes are in the arena all fucking day. You know this guy has certain strengths, and talking in front of a live microphone at this point, frankly, is not one of them. Why would you make this decision? Why would you not sit there and do as many takes beforehand as fucking possible, knowing that this is what you were going to do, to make sure that you were accentuating strengths, and in this case, masking some opportunity areas to use some corporate speak, you stupid fucks? Why in the fuck would you send Roman Reigns out there on a live promo to float in the fucking breeze, knowing that you could make the guy that you're getting ready to put so many of your eggs into his fucking basket in 2015 look so goddamn ridiculous and stupid? Why in the fuck would you do that? You had all this time before or afterwards to have a fucking recorded take promo. Why would the WWE decide the best way to feature Roman Reigns is to give him a hot live microphone where you don't have the opportunity to do a retake? Well, at least the WWE gave this Divas title match more than the standard 4 to 5 minutes. I don't know if they quite got into NXT women's title match type of length of time, but they got a little more time than it seems like they usually got. And that's cool. You know, good for them. Good for the ladies. Except for the fact that Brie's explanation of why she's okay with Nikki now was stupid. Nikki Bella's outfit was stupid. And this match was fucking stupid. It was like they were, instead of trying to tell a story and really trying to go out there and work a match, they were just trying to cram in a bunch of spots. Maybe we should be thankful that we didn't get this match at Survivor Series. Sometimes be careful what you wish for, because when you get it, it's going to suck. If you don't know by now, you should, and maybe TLC was yet another shining example that helps it finally sink through your skulls. In today's WWE, Kane kills everything. He is the ultimate deheater. You would almost call him the cooler or the icer. You know, maybe you'd call him Glacier. Everything Kane's involved with just totally sucks. This chair match between him and Ryback totally sucked. Again, these guys tried, but it just didn't resonate. It just didn't grab anybody. And at this point in time, you know, the crowd was probably already lost. They realized Wyatt and Ambrose was going to main event, and that was really all that they had to look forward to, and that was all they were giving a fuck about. Because they most certainly didn't give a fuck about this match. Just like with other matches on this card, when the crowd is chanting for your developmental territories brand over your own, you got problems. I know I wasn't the only one that was sitting there watching TLC and stares Michael Cole, dipshit, that sat there and forgot all about the fact that Rusev and Swagger were going to have a U.S. title match on this card. And I know I wasn't the only one that sat there and said, oh, fuck, I got to sit through this before I get to the main event. I mean, I know I'm not the only one that had that thought process. And again, that's kind of how this night was going and the path that it was heading down. You know, these two guys work well together. Problem is, I've seen this match before. No, I literally feel like at maybe a big show during the summer, I've pretty much seen this exact fucking match before. Why would you go back to these two guys working together if you were going to do everything in the exact same fucking way? Because all you were doing is filling time, killing time, and wasting our time. To be fair, when it comes to a show like TLC, as a general rule, maybe the match that ties into the name of the stipulation of the pay-per-view should actually main event. Sure, you have those outliers like Punk versus Cena for the title, Money in the Bank 2011, what have you, but in general, maybe that match should be the match that main events the show. So I shouldn't bury the WWE too badly for main eventing Wyatt and Ambrose in this TLC match at tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs. And I won't. I was just surprised again that the tables match maybe itself wasn't the TLC match and maybe itself wasn't the main event because it had better story going into it, whatever. Once I saw that Rollins and Cena was mid-carding, I'm like, oh, the TLC match is main eventing. Maybe it's because the WWE knows that this was going to be the safest bet to deliver, the safest bet to send the fans away at least a little bit happy with what they saw throughout the night. Maybe this was also, again, tying into the stipulation of the pay-per-view. But ultimately, Wyatt main eventing to me just suggests that the rumors of building him up to potentially take on Taker at WrestleMania might be true. Oh, God. Okay. I'll deal with that at that time. I will say this, that I feel like both of these guys deserve this spot on this show for different reasons. Ambrose at this moment probably is the hottest character in the company. I think everybody can feel safe in saying that. Wyatt at one point in time maybe was the hottest guy in the company, and he's still a relatively hot figure. So Ambrose deserves it because of what he's doing and how he's getting over. And Wyatt, on the flip side, deserves it in part maybe because of what he's doing to keep himself over, but at the same point in time, to rectify some of the mistakes made with him in 2014, the fact that the company kind of lost their way with him, and he got saddled with the John Cena problem. So both guys deserve the spot. So it's unfortunate that the storyline and feud and rivalry heading into this match did not deserve this spot and did not really, frankly, deserve this match. And the problem is when you get to this TLC match and you've had ladders matches and chairs matches and stairs matches already, the crowd kind of becomes desensitized to the tables, ladders, chairs, stairs, bumps, and spots. They do. So it's really difficult to knock it out of the park in these type of matches. It really is. With these stipulation matches, you could still tend to have a good, passable match or a very good match, which makes the chairs matches and the stairs matches that much worse because they didn't have good matches. Same thing with that tables match as well. But again, by the time you get to the main event and a show that already is kind of pissed off the audience, has really lost its audience, the crowd becomes desensitized to what Wyatt and Ambrose are trying to do in this TLC match. I mean, it was a good match, but it just never got to that great category to me. It just really didn't take off like I anticipated. It just really didn't, hammer it like I thought it was going to. I thought this was the safe bet to be the match of the night, and it wasn't. The opening match, the ladder match for the IC title, that had far fewer elements into it, with it being a ladder match as opposed to a TLC match, with guys like Harper and Ziggler instead of guys like Wyatt and Ambrose. That match was the match of the night. That match was the one that really delivered. And this match, kind of, like I said, it was good, but it just never got to that great category. And it kind of fell flat. And it really fell flat with the finish. The finish was just dumb. What more can I say? Whether it's Ambrose getting beat by a fucking genie in the bottle, or it's losing because apparently he doesn't realize that a fucking TV is plugged in and now it's going to spark in his face. What is this, the cameraman getting his revenge 20 plus years later from King of the Ring 93 for what he did to Hogan? He's making a statement. This was just dumb. Why does Ambrose have to lose in this type of fucking manner? And furthermore, why does Wyatt have to win in this type of stupid manner? Why do heels in the company almost always seemingly have to win in this type of fashion? It doesn't help the heels. It doesn't help the faces. WWE, it doesn't fucking help anybody. Yet you consistently do this crap. And this finish didn't help anybody. It didn't help Wyatt. It didn't help Ambrose. So you accomplished nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you think this is really establishing Bray Wyatt as a force heading into a match that until last year he's going against a guy that had never lost at WrestleMania in over 2+ decades, you really are just that out of touch. That finish was bullshit. That finish was trash. Instead of getting the people to attempt to maybe fool themselves into thinking that this show was much better than it really was, because that main event really kicked ass, and that opening match really kicked ass, and by God, you got a lot of crap in between on the sandwich, but maybe these are the two best sesame seed buns you've ever fucking seen. Or maybe this is a steak patty and this is a steak patty and you got all the vegetables in between. You don't care about this, but this is all you taste and that's all you remember. That's what stays with you. Well, instead, you sent the people home kind of disappointed and, wanting so much more than what they actually got. And I hope that doesn't continue to be a trend for matches that Ambrose and Wyatt are involved in. But that, again, seems to be the freaking case. If you didn't watch this show, the only things you really need to bother with are the opening match and the main event. And even in that case, you can skip them. You've seen Ziggler do that type of shit before. Celebrating what he did is stupid because it just represents more of the same for Dolph. I don't even like the guy. I'm not a fan of his. And even I'll acknowledge the guy deserves better. And you guys should fucking demand better. Stop being morons. You affected positive change with Daniel Bryan. Why wouldn't you do the same with Dolph Ziggler? Why are you cheering this guy winning a meaningless mid-card title in the opening match of a show again? And then the main event. The match isn't nearly as good as you might have thought it was going to be. And then the finish was so fucking ridiculous. You could tell who has full creative say-so over this fucking show. It has Vince's fingerprints all over it.